Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody? It's Saturday. It's a football day. Nothing better than that. Got the turtleneck on, so it's a serious day. So I did some research on BlackRock, which I don't know what we want to get into first. Let's get into football, and then we can wander into economics. Wait till Bobby gets on. All right, so let's look at the line. Man, let me get my charger over here. So we got KC at 4:30, and then we got a night game, Tennessee, Jacksonville. KC 9.5, 52.5. Hasn't moved. Jacksonville 6.5, 39.5. Hasn't moved. Miami 3, 37.5. Now here I hear Joe Flacco starting. And Miami's probably going to go with Skylar Thompson. I like the Jets as a dog, but I think I like the game under more. Pitt 2.5, 40.5. Hasn't moved. Indy 2.5, 37.5. You got to be nuts to bet this game. Maybe an under. It is going down. People are actually like, oh, let's bet this game under. Atlanta 4.5, 40.5. New Orleans 3.5, 41.5. Buffalo 7.5, 43.5. Cincinnati 9.5, 39.5. And I'll get into the Cincinnati game in a minute. Mini 5.5, 42.5. Seattle 6, 41.5. Philadelphia 14.5, 43.5. Frisco 14.5, 39.5. Denver 3, 39.5. Dallas 7, 40.5. And Green Bay still 4.5, 49.5. Hasn't moved, which doesn't really make any sense. Nothing new on the injury. I did check the I more or less checked the injuries, but I more or less checked the fantasy football because that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea, especially who's playing and who isn't, and who's sitting out. And then there's a lot of scenarios which I disagree with. Like Minnesota, I think plays because I think if they go in losing to the Bears with Peterman at quarterback after getting blown out by the Packers, they ain't going to win a playoff game. That's no way to go into the playoffs. Now, I know these coaches are all, oh my God, we can't get anybody hurt. It's football. But it's ridiculous already. So let's look at tonight's game. So we got KC 9.5, 52.5. It's a big number, 9.5 against Stidman. Looked good against the Niners. Now, if it wasn't the Niners, it'd be like Mayfield, okay, against Denver. And you'd say, well, okay, it's a fluke, which it was because he put up 10 on Green Bay and 10 on San Diego. But in this case, Oakland is at home. It's a big rivalry. And Stidham did do it against the Niners. So I think Stidham can at least give me 20 today. KC will have to score. They got to win for the 1 seed. So I look for a big number from KC. But Oakland could win, and Oakland could keep it close because Oakland hates KC. So I'm staying away from the 3.5 because KC could easily win by 3 here. But I'm going over because I just think, Mahomes, he's going to score. And then Oakland's got no defense. So the defenses really are dictating to go over with Mahomes, and then if Stidham, who is not bad, he's not great, but he's not bad. I mean, he's better than Tagliabue and Lawrence and those guys. Fields, I mean, he's better than them. He just was at New England. They didn't really give him a chance. Again, Belichick, the greatest coach in the history of life, again, can't spot talent from a mile away. As he goes with Jones, who's going to lose against instead of Zappy. Zappy could probably beat Buffalo. Jones can't. All right, so first game, we like the game over. Should be high scoring. Again, no real defense on the field to stop two good offenses. Oakland will play because they want to beat Kansas City. See, it's the teams that are in that are resting their players you got to worry about. The teams that aren't, now we'll get to one, Washington, where we'll definitely go against them, but most of these teams aren't. So Tennessee, Jacksonville, a playoff game. Jacksonville 6.5. Trevor Lawrence choked in Clemson. Can't see him doing anything here. Tennessee's going to run the ball down their throat. The defense is going to stop Lawrence from running and basically stop the run game and make Lawrence pass to beat him, which he can't do. So I took Tennessee 12.5, 13 here. It's a playoff game, and you got Derrick Henry, and he's going to run it down your throat. So they're not going to shut Tennessee out. And this will be a 20-14 type of game, I think. I think Tennessee gets at least in the teens, and Jacksonville doesn't do much better. Tennessee's got a good defense. They got a good coach, so the coach is going to keep the defense in. So from that standpoint, I like the dog, right? And you're giving me 12.5. I got 13.5 in one bet with Tennessee. So that's where I'm going is the dog here. Pitt 2.5 over Cleveland. Pitt needs the game, and they're playing at the same time New England and Miami are. So therefore, it becomes they're just going to play and do their best and play the whole game. I don't see them resting their guys at half. I certainly don't see New England winning, and I don't see Miami winning. I don't see either of those teams winning. So I think Pitt looks like they've been playing the best. They just beat Baltimore, with Huntley, but still. And I just Cleveland, Deshaun Watson's terrible, so they're going to run Chubb, but against Pittsburgh, you're not going to run. So it's going to make Watson throw to beat him, which he can, and you get 3.5 in Pitt, which even if Cleveland wins, it's by 3, no more. So I like Pitt to win the game, probably by 10 points in this situation. Under is probably okay at 40.5, but I like Pitt plus 3.5 at home. They're playing. They're playing a full game. The way Tomlin is. So I think Pitt here is much the better team. I know I heard these idiots on BetMGM say, well, I like Cleveland in 3 or whatever. They don't even understand the concept of betting. They look at the number and they're saying, I got value in the market and all this shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Plus in a teaser, Pitt in 3.5 is, you get more than a touchdown. It's gold. Hey, Greg and John, good morning. Well, we're looking at some playoffs, and then I want to get into some BlackRock with you guys. So I know we've looked at these, but it's like the Dirty Dozen. We got to keep going over it and over it. So we like Pitt to win. We like the game under because Pitt plays a tough defense, running the ball. There's really not a good quarterback out there. I mean, Pickett's terrible. Washington's worse. So you got two kind of weak quarterbacks. And you got really strong defense in Pitt. Cleveland, they're okay, but not in Pitt's league. I just think Pitt's defense is too much. And Cleveland's not going to do much scoring here. All right. So we take Pitt, Minnesota, Chicago. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Starts at 2.5. Fields is out. Goes to 7.5 for some reason. And now goes down to 5.5 for some reason. Oh, the market must not have liked the 7. You want to bet on whatchamacallit? Who are the Bears? The Bears are starting Nate Peterman, who threw 12 interceptions with Buffalo in one game. You want to bet on Peterman, go ahead. But Minnesota, after getting blown out, going into the playoffs against the Bears with the third-string quarterback, is not going to lose this game. As bad as Kirk Cousins is, and we all know he's terrible, this is a game he should do well because Chicago's got no defense. Jefferson will want to get better. Over under 42.5. I was all over the over until I heard Fields was out. Now I learned Fields is out. Now I really like Minnesota. Even if you get into the backup quarterback instead of Cousins, he's probably better than Cousins. He did score a late touchdown against Green Bay, the backup quarterback, so he is capable of putting some points on. Chicago doesn't have anything. They have no receivers, and so what's Peterman going to do? And they have no defense. So Minnesota, they got to put somebody on the field. I think they play a good first half and get a lead and then just milk it in. I think it's probably an under now where it was an over. This should be an over game if Fields is playing. If it's a regular Week 12 game, this is a lock over. Minnesota scores, no defense. Chicago scores, no defense. But without Fields, then the Bears go to an under because they can't score and they have no defense. So they really turn into a Z team. Minnesota's an over team. They're still going to play. They're still going to try to win. Maybe they sit everybody out at the start of the fourth quarter, but they're going to want to win. And I think they put up a 21 and then just coast in. But to get the game even here, really there's no playoffs on. Okay, many can win and get the 2 seed. Does that fucking matter? No. What do they care? They're in the playoffs. The 2 or the 3 seed is meaningless as far as but the Niners want the 2 seed for what? So I don't buy that. I don't buy San Diego's playing because they can get the 5 seed instead of Baltimore. What's the point? You're either in the playoffs or you're not in the playoffs. All right. So I like Minnie to win because they got blown out and Fields isn't playing. But they really have no incentive. Their best is to maybe be a 2. They've got the 3 seed locked up. So to be a 2 or 3 seed doesn't really matter. If Philly loses and Dallas wins, Dallas is, I think, the 1 seed or the Niners. And, so Minnie's going to be a 2 or a 3 regardless. I don't think it really matters. But I do like Minnie after getting blown out without Fields that they're going to play. New Orleans 3.5, 41.5 against Carolina. Now, this is a nothing game. I looked at the fantasy report, and it's like a lot of players will be sitting out or playing and then sitting out. You still got Darnell for Carolina. He's second rate, so he's not going to be sitting out. And you got Dalton. So does Kamara play the whole game? Does Olave play the whole game? I doubt it. On Carolina, they have the 1 receiver, and then they have their running backs. So I think Carolina, I think they play. I think this is a close game. I like the dog. Carolina 19-2 is a dog, road dog, and New Orleans play against as a home favorite 13-2. So I really like the matchup of Carolina. Yes, neither team's got anything to play for. In the game's in New Orleans, and they just beat Philadelphia, but now they don't need they had a chance, now they don't. So I think Carolina as a road dog in a division game, I think they play the same as New Orleans, and I like the 9.5 because New Orleans doesn't really blow you out. Carolina has the running game. As far as I can see, they're going to still play their runners and Darnell, and they're still going to play. They don't see. You rest the players if you're in the playoffs, but when you're out of the playoffs, you're not going to rest your players. There's no reason to, so they play. I like Carolina here in one of the few non-playoff games. Okay, here's the game of the week. Cincinnati 9.5, 39.5 against Baltimore. Cincinnati's getting fucked. Cincinnati, if they lose this game, and even though they'll have the better record and percentage over Baltimore, and they'll have won the division if they play them, in which they will next week, more than likely in the first round playoff game. It becomes a coin flip where the game's at. So Cincinnati's going to get screwed if they lose today or tomorrow, they will get screwed on home field advantage, which they should have gotten in the first playoff game and maybe the second playoff game if upsets happen. And it's unbelievable. And they had a vote on this yesterday, and the owners voted that because they play one game less, then it's a coin flip for hosting the game. What the fuck is that? You've got a better record. Even if Baltimore wins, since he has 5 losses, Baltimore has 6 losses. What's the problem here, folks? So I don't understand this whole vote. I don't understand why Cincinnati's getting screwed, but they are getting screwed if they lose this game. We've just created huge incentive for Joe Burrow to blow out Baltimore, and then they don't have an issue about home field advantage in the playoffs. So if Cincinnati wins, they get home field advantage next week and anything else that happens. And then if Buffalo loses, well, I don't know because they didn't play. KC, they can't catch. So what you have here is Cincinnati must win the game to have home field next week, and possibly if Buffalo loses against Buffalo. This is a huge game for Cincy. Take Cincinnati, lay 3.5. It won't be close. They're going to kill them. Huntley is looking crappy, and Cincy's really pissed off. So we're taking Cincinnati here because this is totally unfair, and they're playing the best football. They got the best quarterback. They got the best receiver, and their defense has been very good. Take Cincy, lay your 3.5. Who cares? It don't matter. It won't be close. They're going to kill them. Seattle and the Rams. Here's your free pick. Take Seattle. It's still 6, 41.5. Seattle in a must win. It's between them and Green Bay, Detroit. Winner. If Seattle wins, then Detroit wins. They're in. If Seattle loses, then Green Bay. Then Detroit could get in. So the Green Bay-Detroit game is going to have meaning. It just won't have meaning for both teams unless Seattle loses. However, Seattle's playing by themselves in a must-win. They beat a very good Jet team with a very good defense last week. I look for Coach Pete to have them fired up like back in the USC days. And the Rams, so what are the Rams playing for? Baker Mayfield, who, let's face it, I like Baker Mayfield, but he's not that good. 10 points on San Diego, 10 points on Green Bay. So I don't know what happened at the Denver game, but this is at Seattle, who looked pretty good against the Jets. Look for Seattle, pretty strong here by at least 20 over the Rams. Free pick. Enjoy. Make some money on it. San Diego, Denver. Denver laying 39.5 to San Diego. Any game that San Diego, I don't know. I mean, are they playing? They can get the 5 seed. Who gives a shit? Does that matter? Do they want to play Buffalo or do they want to play Cincinnati? I mean, does it matter? I probably wouldn't want to play Cincinnati. I'd probably rather play Buffalo than Cincinnati. I can have Josh Allen throw interceptions. I'm not going to get Joe Burrow to throw interceptions. He's just too clutch. So, yeah, I like San Diego in 9. I actually think Boza is not on the injury list. I actually think he's going to play in a game. I don't think he plays long. I don't know. San Diego has nothing to play for here. Denver, what do they? They haven't had a meaningful game in 10 weeks. Denver stinks. Not sure why they're the favorite. I'm not sure Russell Wilson plays a full game. So if you're really looking at this superficially, I don't see Russell Wilson playing the whole game or Jerry Jeudy or the running backs, Melvin Gordon. I don't think Denver plays their starters the whole game either. San Diego, I think they play a little bit to get ready for next week, maybe the first half. I like San Diego in 9 here. It's not like you're facing Russell Wilson the whole game. I doubt. I mean, maybe, who knows? You got a new coach. and but they certainly don't need it. They're not in the playoffs. They suck. A lot of injuries. So I like San Diego and 9 here, like with Carolina or something, but not a big game. I mean, I don't, it's just if you really are wanting to bet, San Diego and Carolina are two very live dogs. Next week, San Diego will be a live dog. I'll be betting them. This week, I won't. I might, small, but I'm saying is next week you want them as the road dog. New England, Buffalo, interesting game. Buffalo 743.5. Buffalo pounded Miami last year in a meaningless game. Buffalo had clinched, and they killed Miami. Now you got the same thing. Here New England can clinch. I think Buffalo's going to beat the shit out of them. I'm sure they're probably upset over the guy getting injured. Okay, let's get over that. It's an injury. Okay, people get injured all the time. It's football. Buffalo at home, very strong. New England's without Zappy, Mac Jones ain't going to do anything. Yes, New England needs the game. What does that mean? Not a whole lot. I mean, the problem is they're playing at Buffalo, right? So they need the game at Buffalo, who is not about to lay down. I am sure of that. They will play. Now, it depends on KC tonight. If KC loses tonight, as I told you, with a couple minutes left in the game and Oakland is going to win, that's scenario A. You don't wait for the game to end. You quickly go bet Buffalo, play them with Cincinnati, playing with Seattle, playing with the Lions over. There's 82 games you can play Buffalo with. If KC, in fact, is losing and they're going to lose, make the bet. If KC's up 10 and the game's over, then there's a different story. Then we can't bet Buffalo. We're not betting New England under any circumstance with Mac Jones. I don't care that they need the game. They don't have Tom Brady and Belichick. We know can't coach. So I'm sitting there with my thought of, well, if KC clinches, I gotta just stay away from them. There's no way I'm taking New England in 13 in this game. It's either Buffalo -1 because they need it. They don't need it. I'm still thinking of Buffalo -1, but it's probably a game to lay away from. Detroit, Green Bay 4.5, 49.5. We all know Green Bay, no matter what Seattle does, wins in their end. We know what. Let's look at the facts. Detroit, very strong offense, very weak defense, an over defense. Green Bay scoring a lot more, so it's very hard to look at their whole body of work, and because they don't score a lot in the first couple of games, so it's skewing their average. But if we look at Green Bay, the last maybe 6 weeks, they're probably close to 30 points a game, and their defense is, you can't count the Minnesota game, Kirk Cousins, but overall their defense has been better. That one cornerback looks incredible. The guy held Jefferson scoreless. It was unbelievable. Who is he? I never heard of the guy. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I never heard of the guy, and he's like the best corner in the league. But Detroit's got various offense in good balance, so he won't work as well against the Lions because they had just too many weapons. So Green Bay with not the greatest defense. This game is going to be in the 60s, no question. Detroit's going to play no matter what Seattle does. Detroit's got to have the mindset, okay, we're going to beat Green Bay. We got to score a lot. Green Bay's mindset is we got to win no matter what Seattle does. So if Seattle wins, then Detroit's out. I don't buy we want to keep Green Bay out. We saw what Minnesota, who wanted to keep Green Bay out, did last week. They got crushed. So Green Bay is winning this game no matter what. If Seattle wins or loses, Green Bay is winning this game. I guarantee that. I like the over a little bit better, but Aaron Rodgers is not losing this game after the way he played that first game, which was fixed. He throws 3 interceptions and hits the lineman on the helmet on purpose. So he throws 3 interceptions and they get 9 points, all in the red zone. They didn't punt in the whole game. How do you get 9 points? So Aaron Rodgers did not want to play that day. Aaron Rodgers will make that up today or tomorrow. So Green Bay plays. Green Bay wins. High scoring game. I like the over a little bit more because I know Detroit will score. There's the offset. Detroit can beat them, but I'd say it's maybe 10%. I say it's Green Bay wins 90%. Game goes over 95%. So I like the over. Free play. Green Bay over. Free play. Seattle. Free play. TCU over. There's your three plays, your free plays. So take the over all day. If you get caught, if you want, Buffalo with Green Bay over. If you get caught, Green Bay over with TCU over. Seattle, you got at 4 o'clock. You got Cincinnati in there. You got Minnesota. You got Pitt. So let's walk down now. All right, the 1 seed in the West goes at 4:30. We've got Philly, Frisco, and Dallas available for it. More than likely, Hurts is playing, although he's still questionable, but let's assume he plays. He's been practicing, but he's got a banged-up shoulder that kept him out the last 2 weeks. And as we know, in football, these don't just heal, and he gets hit again. He's out for the playoffs. So what does Philly do? The Giants, are they resting their players? I'm reading they're resting their players. They don't need to get anybody injured. I don't buy that bullshit. The Giants would love to keep Philly from the 1 seed. Are you kidding me? This is a hated rivalry game. I know all the people in the Lawrence Taylor jerseys want to see the Giants beat Philly. So are the Giants going to lay down? I mean, Daniel Jones, is he playing? Who else you got? I mean, all right, maybe you don't play Barkley, but I don't buy that. Well, we don't want to risk injury. Are you kidding? If the Giants beat Philly here and keep them from number 1, they could win the Super Bowl with that if they could do that. So, yes, Philly, how good is Hurts? How long is he going to play? Everybody assumes it'll be 42-0 at half. I don't, but we'll see. Which means, so Philly has to win. You're laying 14.5. You lay down to 8.5 in a teaser. I don't like anything about it. Unless I know for sure, like, all right, all the Giants are sitting out. Okay, if I hear that, I'm still not convinced Philly blows them out, but, how long is Hurts really going to play? So if they get up 21-0, are they pulling them? And then they got to cover that. Over under a 43.5. Again, depends on what the Giants do. Are they sitting their defense out? And it's Philly. What's that? So this is a very up in the air game that does make the Niners and Dallas games very interesting. Did the Giants rest their players? Philly gets up big. Frisco pulls their players. I don't think Dallas is pulling their players. And Washington's starting some quarterback I never heard of. So I think Washington's given up anyway. I think Dallas wins that game regardless. They're only laying 7. I think you lay 1 with Dallas. I think you're safe there. Even if Philly wins, I think Dallas still plays. What did Dallas do last week? They beat Tennessee. I don't see, the beauty is, I don't care if Prescott quarters or not. I prefer Cooper Rush. So if you bring in Cooper Rush, you sit Elliott down. Well, you got Pollard. You sit CD Lamb down. They got other receivers. With Cooper Rush, they're going to score. So Washington, with whoever their quarterback is, I mean, it's a guy I never heard of. So I've heard of everybody. So for me to who the fuck's this guy? Washington's giving up. So Dallas should play a good game. Maybe I don't even know what they're going to do. So Prescott, God knows he needs work. Cooper Rush, I'm not hurting at all with him playing, which I prefer him to play. So Dallas -1 here, regardless of Philly, I think gets the win. They might not play in the fourth quarter, but I think they'll get the lead. Then you got Frisco. What do you do with Frisco? If Philly jumps out 28-0, what does Frisco do? They don't play. Now they're playing Arizona with Arizona playing their 4th-string quarterback, Blunt, who was on the Lions preseason, who sucked. I believe it's Boyle or Blunt or whatever, played for Purdue. So what's he going to do against the Niners? Now, Purdy, I don't think sits out. He hasn't played that much. And who's your backup? Maybe they play him the first 3 quarters and sit him down. So this is a very impossible bet, is the Philly and the Niner bet, because unless you know what, because they're on at the same time, you don't know what are the Niners, how much are they resting, and how much do they care about the 2 seed or the 3 seed. So the Niners win gets the 2 seed, provided what happened with Minnesota at 1:00 with the Bears. So Minnesota wins, makes the Niners win for the 2 seed. Do they care? And let's say they do. Well, then they're going to play, and then they're going to kill Arizona, regardless if they get the 1 seed or not. Philly, it's between Philly and Dallas still for the division, right? If Philly loses and Dallas wins the division. Dallas then becomes either the 1 or 2 seed. I guess the 1, well, if Frisco wins, I guess Frisco's the 1. Dallas is the 2 and would have won the division. Philly's fucked up with their play calling last week. They should never have lost to New Orleans. That was terrible coaching there. I mean, Minshew put up 34 on Dallas. So I think Dallas is on a roll. I think Dallas wins regardless. Philly, I'm questioning. I don't think they can cover 14.5, even against the 3rd-string Giant team. And then the Niners, if Minnie wins and they want to be the 2 seed, and the question is how much do they want, you bet Philly. So this is a very hard – I think you can take Dallas. I think I bet Dallas. I think Philly and Frisco will kill if Philly's losing. But are the Giants just going to mail it in, and then they're going to lose the first round of the playoff game if they do? You can't just mail in games and then turn the switch the next week in the playoffs and expect to win. This is a mistake the coach of the Giants will make if he thinks he's got to rest his players, because you throw off timing. And as I explained to Bobby yesterday, if Bobby sits out 3 games and then the coach says, go ahead and you're batting, now you're going to play, and you think Bobby's going to play and he's going to hit 2 home runs and go 4 for 4, you're out of your mind. He's going to go 0 for 4 because he's fucked up his timing, and that's what will happen here. So if the Giants think they're going to sit their play, anybody, this is the professor's rule, anybody that sits out their players to rest is going to lose the first round of the playoffs. And I'm going to bet heavy against them. So if the Giants don't venture to play their players, and they got to go play Frisco or who's the 3 seed or Minnesota? They won't even beat Minnesota. That's how bad they are. If they sit out their players, they couldn't beat them with their players playing. But I just don't see that here. Many must win if they have any hope in the playoffs, because you can't go in losing, getting blown out by Green Bay and getting blown out by Chicago with Peterman, right? So Minnie's got to play, which then leads the Giants against Minnie again, I assume, or go to the Niners. Dallas would be the 5 seed. If everything stays, Dallas 5, the Giants 6, and then the 7th seed is going to be Green Bay. And I guarantee you, I don't want to be the 2 seed playing Green Bay. I don't think Minnesota wants to be the 2 seed playing Green Bay. So it's almost like you want to be the 3 seed and play the Giants than be the 2 seed and play the Packers. So that's what you have going up for it. Dallas will be the 5 seed, so they get Tampa Bay. So they're probably happy with that. Or the 1 seed, but they want the 1 seed. They want that week off. But they're going to have to play Green Bay. Good luck. So that's what you have here, this triple at 430. I guess I like Dallas, regardless. And then it's, but I guess if Minnesota wins, Frisco plays and wins. Philly, they'll never cover 14.5. I just don't see the Giants as laying down. If they do, then they're out in the first round anyway. Houston, 2.5, 37.5. You got all the backups playing. Nobody cares. Please don't bet this game. If you do, maybe under 37.5 to 43.5. I don't see how you can take Indy with Ellinger. I don't see how you can take Houston with Mills. Nobody's going to be sitting out, but Foles is out with ribs, so that leaves you with Ellinger, and Ellinger can't blow out anybody. So Houston's probably not a bad bet with Ellinger. It's sort of like the Tampa Bay one, which I haven't gotten to yet. Atlanta 4.5, 40.5. Even if Brady sits out, I like Trask, very strong quarterback from Florida. And how is Ritter going to blow out anybody? He couldn't blow out anybody at college. They would play Tulane and Tulsa. Cincinnati had to win the games to get into the college football playoff, and he was beating them by 10 points against weak defenses. So I don't see how Atlanta blows out Tampa. I don't care if Brady plays. I got Trask, who's probably just as good. You'll see. Trask is better than whatchamacallit on Oakland. Oh, Jesus, what's his name? Stidham. Okay, Trask is a lot better than Stidham, Oakland's quarterback. Trask is a lot better than Jones at New England, and he's for sure better than the Giants quarterback, Jones. He's probably up there with Brock Purdy. He's that good. He's probably better than Purdy once he gets in. So I have no problem with Trask at Tampa Bay. That's a very live dog right there. In Tampa, I don't see them not playing a half a game. I think Brady starts. I think they play the first half. Trask comes in the second half and lights it up. So I like Tampa. I just don't see Ritter blowing them out. Tampa's going to play. Like I said, you get on the field, you're playing. You're not sitting out, right? Once you get on the field, you're tackling, you're running, you're playing to win. Dallas, we talked about, which leaves the last game, Miami against the Jets, Jets. I believe you got Skylar Thompson against Joe Flacco. I like the game under. I like the Jets in 9. I don't see how Thompson blows them out. I don't think the Jets are going to sit there and just sit there. And I don't, Miami, again, you got the towel boy as your coach. Like, this guy's an idiot, this Miami coach. I don't see them blowing out the Jets. Never. Not with this defense, not with the Jets coach. They're not going to just lay down like the Giants are going to do. Miami needs the game, but with Skylar Thompson, he's terrible. He's not an NFL quarterback. Played at Kansas State, didn't look all that good. I prefer the Kansas State quarterback. Howard is better than this guy. So I like the Jets in the 9, but I like the under more. So I like the Jets under 43.5 in this game. Strong defense, weak quarterback play. I just don't see where you're getting points. So that's what we have. If we look at the trends, we've got Minnesota 8-1 as a road favorite, 9-0 play against as a road favorite. We got the Bears 14-3 as a home dog, play against 15-2 as a home dog. But with the trends, some of them are with Fields, some of them aren't. Let's say these latest ones are with Fields. Fields isn't playing. Minnesota, they've got to play. They can't go into the playoffs like this. If they rest their players, then they'll be out in the first round anyway. And then we know they're not that good, but they can beat Peterman, for God's sake. Carolina 19-2 road dog, play against New Orleans, home favorite 13-2. Cincinnati 41-11 in a teaser. Seattle play against the Rams as a road dog 7-1. San Diego 11-1 as a road dog, play against San Diego overall 40-8. But when they're a road dog, you play the road dog stat. Buffalo 42-11. Green Bay 11-3 is a home favorite. Philadelphia 12-3 is a home favorite. 39-11 overall. So Philly's been the real hot team in a teaser. Houston 17-4 is a road dog. Arizona 14-2 is a road dog, but you got the 4-string quarterback. Tampa Bay play against Atlanta as a home favorite 10-0. Play against Atlanta 29-3. This is such a huge Tampa trend. And I don't mind. If I got Trask, I'm fine with that. He's going to have some receivers out there. Dallas 10-2 is a road favorite, and Miami, well, okay, that stat is useless. They were the home dog. They were a very good home dog, but now the Jets are a road dog, and they're a very good road dog. So the best teams to play, San Diego, Philly, and Atlanta are the best in the teaser if everything's normal. Again, San Diego, are they playing? Philadelphia, we know are playing. And then it leaves Atlanta. Seattle's also strong. So are the Jets. So Cincinnati. And so are the 49ers. Your bet against teams. These teams are 90% or more bet against, both Minnie and Chicago in this game. Tampa Bay, the Rams, which makes Seattle look really good. Atlanta, which makes Tampa look good. Indy, which makes Houston look good, and bet against San Diego, but not when they're the dog. And then Miami, Baltimore, and Washington. So a lot of the teams that we like are good, are even more likely because of the bet against. So keep in mind, so it's KC over today in Tennessee. KC loses or is losing real late, jump on Buffalo before the game's over. If Oakland picks them off and there's a minute left in the game and no timeouts, and Oakland's going to win, or if Oakland has a 10-point lead with 2 minutes left, you go make your bet on Buffalo immediately before the game's over to catch the 6.5. If KC's beating them, just ignore the Buffalo bet. Then we talk about it tomorrow. We see if Buffalo's playing or not. But if we know KC's losing, which they could very easily lose this game, look at Frisco. They almost lost at Oakland to Stidham last week with their defense. They gave up 34 to Stidham. KC's going to give up 34 to Stidham. That's why I like the game over. But if they are losing, jump on Buffalo immediately because the line won't move until after. Once the game's over, then Vegas will go, oh, okay, now Buffalo needs it. Now it's a 10-point favorite. So you got to get it at 6.5, but only if you know they need it. So let's see what the score is with about 2 minutes left after the 2-minute warning, right? So let the 2-minute warning go. What's the score? KC's up 30. Fine. Oakland's up 10. Let's go bet Buffalo. And it's as simple as that. If it's KC's killing them, then we just ignore the Buffalo bet. So again, we like Pitt, we like Minnie, we like Cincinnati, we love Cincinnati, we love Seattle. That's the free play. Detroit, Green Bay, we go over, and we like Green Bay also, and we go over. That's your free play. Philly, you got to take if the Giants are laying down. If they're not laying down, the Giants easily cover. The Niners, I don't know if it depends on Minnie if they want the 2 seed. I don't think they really want to play Green Bay. I don't think anybody wants the 2 seed to play Green Bay. Dallas, I think, plays anyway because Washington's quarterback is like their 4th-string. I've never heard of the guy, and they're throwing him in. So we know Washington's obviously sitting their players down. Dallas, I think, will play, and even if they sit down Prescott, you got Rush, who's better anyway. And then Miami and the Jets, I think you got 2 very weak quarterbacks, and Flacco versus Skylar Thompson. So I like the game under there. I do not trust Miami to win that game. College championship, it's still 12.5 and 62.5. We like ball. We like tennis, TCU and 18.5, and we like the over 56.5. I think the over is way low. It should be 66. Now, I'm not one to bet Georgia games over until I watch the last 2 Georgia games, but I am smart enough to go, George, something's wrong with their defense. Let's get off of them under and let's get onto them over because their offense is so loaded. When I hear these radio guys say Stenson Bennett's not a pro quarterback, you're out of your mind. Oh, let's have so it's sort of like they all like Bryce Young because he played at Alabama. I'm like, well, I don't like Bryce Young. I don't see what's so good about him. just like the rest of these Alabama quarterbacks that aren't any good in the NFL. So I'm sitting there going, I don't like, it's the system, right? It's like Ohio State. Fields can't even throw a completed pass, right? He's running now because he can't pass. That's not what I want in my quarterback. So I don't. Bryce Young was running a lot. So again, I don't see where Bryce Young is better than half these quarterbacks, especially Rising at Utah, Thompson Robinson, UCLA, Duggan at TCU, even Bennett at Georgia, I think's better. Bennett at Georgia wins. He's a little different because he's got a power running attack. So a lot of his are handoffs, but in all the key plays, when it's 3rd and 15, or look at the plays he did against Ohio State when he marched them down and scored the touchdown late. I don't see Bryce Young doing that. I don't see half these guys doing that. I see Rising doing that and Thompson Robinson doing that, but I don't see Bryce Young doing it. He didn't do it against LSU, and he didn't do it against the other game they lost to Tennessee. So, I just have my doubts that just because he's from Alabama, we play him. So anyway, watching Bennett, he looks strong. He'll score. You'll get points from him. You'll get points from TCU with that offense. I don't think you're going to get 2 pick sixes because Michigan's quarterback really sucks. But I think that's where you're at with this. So that's your way to go on Monday. All right. I got to talk a little economics if you are okay for that. And then hopefully Bobby gets on. He always likes the economics. So I keep hearing about these types of inflation, and I want to clear this up because it's really bothering me. We know inflation is the increase in the money supply, period. Prices are not an increase in inflation. Now, I hear this idiot talking about demand pull and cost push. And I want to clean this up because he is not, they are there, but he doesn't explain them right. The demand pull is when money supply increases faster than prices. The prices rise inflation rates. So you're printing money, but the prices aren't going up. That's the demand pull. So you've got more money, you go buy things, right? So I'm getting more money in because they're printing it, and but the prices haven't gone up yet. So I go buy more, Cheerios and more steak and more beef, and that demand raises the prices. So it's the demand for the good, which makes the price go up because they're printing more money, and that's what's happening. Then there's the cost push, which is when money supply equals prices. So they're printing more money and the prices are going up at the same time. And the worst stage is the hyperinflation. The money supply increases, prices increase faster. Expectations drive the system. So don't forget that. So what happens is they print the money, which is what they're doing now, but people understand that, and their expectation is I better buy now before the prices go up. And I love how this idiot goes, well, that's not happening. How the fuck do you know if that's happening or not? How would you measure that, Mr. Attorney? So it's all it's all the same thing. The money supply increases. It's just, does the money supply increase faster than the prices, or do the money supply cause the prices to increase because of the expectations? Oh, we know there's inflation. We know the prices will go up. So we go and buy 20 cans of tuna and toilet paper with the expectation is that the prices are going to go up. So I want to buy cheap. I've done a lot of that. My freezer's full of meat. My counters are full of spaghetti and popcorn and tuna fish and all that kind of stuff, waiting for the prices to go up. So don't tell me that's not happening. Fucking is. So it's just, does the money supply increase faster than the prices, or when it increases, the prices go up? The worst is the hyperinflation, which is the money supply increases, causes the expectation that the prices are going to go up, and people go on a frenzy buying 1,000 containers of toilet paper and 800 boxes of Cheerios, because they're going, well, shit, it's going to go up. I'm not going to get a raise, so I need to buy my stuff quickly. They're trying to explain it as supply chain, which is not even inflation. Oh, well, they're trying to make it sound like, well, we're having demand pull, so they don't understand supply is money supply. It's not supply of the goods. Price raise inflation rate. So the money supply is increasing, but the public isn't catching on what it is because they're not educated. So they're not jumping out and buying 60 cases of toilet paper or 1,000 pounds of steak. They're not doing that because they don't understand it. They go, oh, the price is okay. It's okay. I don't need to buy up front. So the Fed's printing the trillions of dollars, but the prices aren't going up. That's really the difference. Does it mean anything? No, it's all the same. It's printing money. Now, if you print money, the value of the money loses. That's the key point of inflation, right? If the prices are slower to rise or faster to rise is meaningless. The hyperinflation is if the public gets scared and runs and buys, then that's a different story. So I want to clean that up because you'll hear them say demand pull and cost push, but they don't know they don't know how to really, they don't understand what they're saying. Then they start thinking it's supply chain. Well, the supply chain out of China isn't there, and therefore that's what's happening, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean anything. I wonder if I should do an economics video. All right, let's go do an economics video because I'm getting nobody, and let's keep this to football. All right, so www.teaserking.com. Again, the free picks today are take Seattle, take the Green Bay over and TCU. Again, if KC's losing, take Buffalo before the game's over. www.teaserking.com. I got 3 locks going this weekend. If you're interested, you can get my email if you have a question. All right. I'm going to come back with an economics video just for you, Bobby. All right. Have a great day. Good luck today.